Alrighty. Sort of device there. You've got a bit, that's your screw depth adjustment there. You can't really see, but oh yeah, now you can. It's a little knob there. The engine, of course, is in there. Yeah. This is your little belt hook. The things are the most fucking unbalanced bloody things. This model anyway is chronically unbalanced. You hook it on, the battery's too heavy, the whole lot swings in the way of the battery, the motor's here. They should have done it like that Ryobi reciprocating saw I got, where instead of being typical Makita and having the battery at the back, go Ryobi style and put the battery in the middle, and then it will actually balance off that, as opposed to you hook that over your belt and the fucking thing still goes and falls off because the battery weight hangs down on the bottom here and she just goes whoop, and then your belt will be hooked in and she'll just slip up that way and then just fall off your damn belt. Not very smart. Got a line there and around there, that's where your screw's going to go. There's an adjustment to change it. You can go from 25 to 41 mil, which is basically 1 inch to 1 5/8. And these will be 30, and there's some, that little silver tab has got something to do with it. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, there we go. And you keep, yeah, that's right. You change that silver tab there, and then you just sort of work the mechanism back and forward, and you've got ones that say it about there. These are 30, we're probably going to have to go 32 mil, and you can see 25 at the very end, 28, 32, it's currently set at 40, and yeah, that's how we do it. But yeah, this thing, and you just keep pushing against the wall like that, and you have a little belt in there, and I'll just feed it up through, and you got two little slots just above my thumb there. That's where it feeds it through, and you got to sort of usually slip it in and slam it at least once or something like that. But we've got to adjust it to get it. There we go. It's about the 32. Not too far. Yeah, that's 32. Okay. Alrighty. It's like playing with a friggin' shotgun, I know. And yes. I'll show you a little feeder here. Sort of hard to see, but you see that silver thing or the white thing either side of that. You can see one there just on the right. There's basically, it's all black, the whole lot's black, it's so hard to see in the contrast, but they grip onto the little notches, the little holes there, those little black fingers, and it feeds it up through that, and you load the thing in, boom, like that. So, and sometimes, yes, it'll click forwards, and then you give it a slam or two, and basically your last empty one is where it's going to be lined up, because it actually pulls the belt up and then screws it. So if you have a screw lined up for your main hole where your little driver bit comes through, the son of a bitch will actually jam in the top, and you'll be stuffed, and you can't even get the bloody thing to go in. So you've got to make sure that the one that's lined up with the hole is actually empty, not full, otherwise your first screw will not even go in properly, and you'll hear a grate, and then this top one will be caught up, and blah blah. But if we work the mechanism, you'll see it feed through. And there we go. And we're ready to fire. That one was a bit hard to get through then, because these are unpenetrated. Once they're penetrated, your driver bit will get through, and the top two had been penetrated, but the third one had a screw in it. But I took it out and left that screw empty, and then it was a little bit hard to push the driver through. But that's the thing, you know, once you put the driver through it, this hole these things go very loose and weak, but now we've got an empty one in there, lined up, ready to go, which means that it's going to do the one underneath it. And so long as I can put a 30mm screw through a 32mm thingy, we should be alright. My depth adjustment might be up the shit, which just means I'll start spinning this if it is. And yeah, there you go. I've used the screws that didn't come with it and loaded it in to them, and it should work quite well. Yeah, having said that, when you buy these big strips, they come in a box. It's actually a long rectangular box, because these strips are, when they're full, well, this one's cut off obviously, it's been torn off by hand up there. They're usually, I think it's 50 screws long, and you've got 2 empty ones at the top, and then 50 screws below it. And when you buy a box, it's something like 10,000 screws per box, or something like that, so you buy them at a super bulk price, very discount rate. And I'll tell you what, they're so cheap that if you needed a lot of screws but you couldn't use an automated screw gun, you'd almost buy a box of those and spend a couple of hours at night sitting in front of the TV unscrewing these out, because you just get a cordless drill and you go in reverse and you screw them out backwards. And there's a lot of guys I work with, they could actually just grab hold of the screws with their hands and pull them out forwards. They just pull them right through the damn plastic with their bare hands. And it's not that hard, it's, you don't want to spend all day doing it though. I'll put it like that, because it's, if you do that with about 100 screws, you're, well, those fine threads of, yeah, start sort of making your hands a little bit coarse and a little bit ouchy. Alrighty, well, I've just come back from the snow a little while ago. I went and bought a bit of food and shit, and had some lunch up there, and yeah, plasterboard screws. These are 30mm like the other ones, different brand. I got 100 in the other box for $5.50, and I swear it only seemed like 50 because I went through them so quick. 500 in this box, $9.50. You may say, oh, you're buying too many, you're not going to use them all, Link. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, I will use them all. Because we've still got that wall over that side, and the back of the other one we just done yesterday. This is another little thing. That's a bit of blooming, like a whitish colour, sort of a, not really frosted, but you know what I'm saying. It's a acrylic, I believe, that's like white instead of clear. There's a little gap through there. It's, yeah, you know where that is. And that's sort of just held by this cross bracing here. It's only just sitting there. He's out of there for ages. I went and stuck a bunch of doors in front of it, and all of a sudden, boom, it goes duck. And now I've moved all these doors out of the way. Even though it's a crap overcast day, the amount of light level that come in all of a sudden just from moving these doors out of the way of this thing is unbelievable. In all this, I can see some not so glorious bits of wood. Yeah, some of these might be not only covered in cobwebs, but not as good as they could be. Bit of rotten wood here. This is actually the back of the weatherboards. The little black thing there, that's a little pipe that comes down to the drum, which is right basically through the other side of this wall. The one that also has the other half-inch line coming from, that's the one that comes from the other side of the house, and it has a half-inch line coming from the tank. That's a pipe for it right there. Oh, you can see the top of my gate there, which is sort of open at the moment. Anyways, fortunately all this cladding is under the veranda. There's some things where look, everything is so out of plumb here. Like I said the other day, that wall's got a bloody 4-inch lean on it from top to bottom, and that's only up to ceiling height. Never mind what it is right up to the point of the top of the roof. You know, there's just some things here that it's so out of plumb you wouldn't really spend a heap of money chasing things unless they really need doing. And this outer cladding will be some of it. Most of it's pretty good. You know, you got little bits where they rot, where there's an overlap. A lot of it's in quite good condition though. It's just a lot of dust and shit, and there's a little bit of bore here and there, but most of the studs are pretty good. The edge of that one there could be a bit better. But most of them are actually really good, the studs in here. And it's sort of one of these things where if it's sort of about a flaming 80% quality pass, well, you just say, well, that'll be good for the rest of the years that I'm going to live in here. I don't know if you heard that, it's just a fridge starting up. Just charging up, little modem there too. Yeah, anyways, I've been ripping away with the little Ryobi reciprocating saw. I changed back to the wood blade instead of using the hacksaw, and I thought, who cares, nobody's going to see it. And I got some of these paling offcuts that are like 1 metre long, and what I've done is I've cut them in half, and I tell you what, when you get that little reciprocating saw, I mean, these are only thin, quite thin. I think they're about ½ an inch. They might actually, I think they're only like 3/8 of an inch. When you get that little reciprocating saw firing, and you know you got it all in the right position, and you got the reciprocating saw running full speed, you can just go from one end to the other in friggin' like 15-20 seconds flat. You can do 1 metre, sort of thing. It's brilliant. So, and the other thing I've done, instead of trying to drill a little pilot hole through on a 45-degree angle, and then you know put it through the little pilot hole, and then give it a tap, and as you tap it, it's like, I thought, stuff this, because I've got all these extra screws now, I'm drilling a pilot hole on a 45-degree angle, but instead of trying to hammer a nail through, I'm just slapping the screw through. And of course, because it's only a circular motion, putting the screw in, not a hammering, it stays in place. And because, you know, the drill's pretty quick, it's just, and it's just bang, straight in ½ a second flat. The thing's gripped into the wood and is pulling itself in. So as a result, I'm slapping these in flat out. I mean, I'm getting this done in less than 1/6 the time it took me to do it last time. Well, just dramatically faster than it was last time. It was just such an arduous thing. But the good thing with this is, like with the other one, all the sizes varied. The gaps, you know, some will be smaller and then they go bigger again. But because of the way this is, it's a straight wall, you know, and the studs are all the same thickness, and it's not like as though I've had other floorboards that I've, you know, cut around the studs in the middle of a flipping floor, basically, with the other one. This one, the whole lot's all 70mm wide. So you just go along and just whop, 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 you know, just under 3 inches wide. And, yeah, it means you can just cut, you know, entire lengths the same thickness and just go along and just go and, you know, sit it up, basically, say, okay, that's a stud there, bang, and the other stud will be sitting, say, right here, so you go, okay, we'll mark that across there, you get the reciprocating saw, and then just 245 holes, screw, and that's done. So we're going to have this done quite quick. I've already pulled out the all the old screws, all the old nails. There's still a whole stack of nails from the original paling stuck in the actual studs. So anyway, I still, yeah, got to play around with silver paper and a bit of insulation bats and whatnot before I go put plaster on this. But yeah, if I don't end up working tomorrow, there will be plaster going on this wall at some point tomorrow if I'm not working. So yeah. Anyway, better continue on. Okay, I am very close to putting up that other wall. Just been vacuuming the floor. I moved all the stuff out of the room, been vacuuming the floor. Just got to put down a few bits of wood and start adhesive on, and bang, it's going up. Just decided to randomly, don't know why, walk out here. This is, some of you may know what this is, very old bed. These old beds out of the 1920s, and they basically, you had your main bits of your framing, which would have huge big bolts with square nuts going through them, and on top of that they'd have a little bit of steel plate on the end, but they'd sandwich on with another bit of wood this here, which is basically your mattress. The majority of this is actually gone to scrap metal already, but I kept a bit of wood, and at the moment I have a reciprocating saw with a hacksaw blade, which means I can cut it up into however long lengths and run it through the wood stove. I saw it there, and once before I couldn't seem to get it out, but this time I realised instead of just trying to pull it up, push it across and I can slip it back out this way. But there's something else that you guys should see that I saw a few years ago, and I haven't had it for a few years, and it's in this piece of wood here. I don't know how the colour is coming up on that one. It looks alright there. It's a purple wood fungi, and I mean it is purple. I think that one's showing the best down there. Yeah, she's just completely purple. I seem to have it in a bit of wood around here. Usually hardwood, I think. I don't know if this is... Yeah, that's an old bit of hardwood, probably out of the local forest. When I come here, my uncle had, you see my garbage bins there, and I got that blooming tree bush thingy that Black Kitty always seems to find mice coming in and out of, the base of it, because it's so... It's not a single trunk, it's like about 50 odd blooming sprouts come straight out of the ground. Anyway, in front of that, sort of between that and the bins, he'd grabbed tons and tons of wood out of the forest that you can see all through here, and behind this, it's the forest that goes right up into there. And he used to grab heaps of wood out of there, and he'd dump it all in that spot over there. And most of it I cut up and have used already, but occasionally you just randomly find one bit to be down the bloody paddock, or I think this was actually used to prop up a bit of fence or something like that. He'd randomly just grab one and use it for something else, or fling it somewhere randomly. I mean, bits of 4x2 and shit, I had random hunks sitting out round here near that trailer and all over the damn joint. Not really far from the house, but just ones near enough to the house, and sometimes you use 4x2 to try and prop a shit fence up. And this may be one of those pieces that was used to prop up this fence. There's another good look at the... Because I had quite a lot of these bits that had come out of that same stack actually have like an orangey, soft orange colour. No, hang on, no, it was a beige colour stuff, wood fungi like this, and this purple stuff, and it's just so bizarre to see such a... Now, you get orange fungi and stuff like that. Beige is sort of... Well, you know, some mushrooms are a beige colour. But purple? Like, that's just frickin' crazy. So, I thought I'd show you that, because that's probably one of the last pieces that's left around here that's come out of these forests up here, and ultimately come out of that stack sitting there, and has this purple fungi that I haven't seen for at least 3 years now, I reckon, when I used up the last pieces of wood that had that purple fungi on it. You eating something, pussy? What's going on, honey? I thought you had a mouse down here or something, eh? Oh, cats. You never know what they get up to. She's a bit confused by the wall going up. You see where the gable is there in the middle? That's where that wall is. And of course, because of this gap that's been where the framing comes up from the big beam under the house, she always goes out through there to walk underneath the house or get out near the solar panels and sit in the veranda or right next to the solar panels to get a bit of sun or whatever. And so many times during the winter they'll actually just sit on the front veranda and they just curl up there because it's dry and what sun there is they'll end up getting. And now she's a bit confused because all her sort of exit routes are all been blocked up. And then I've stuck the wall there and she can't work out why she can't get through into the other room. And so the whole lot's all got her a little bit confused. God, this wire never ends, I tell you what. And you, hey, puss? There's a big scurry and a carry-on the other night. I think she was trying to climb up the blooming framing but couldn't really stand on it properly because there's plaster on one side already and it's sort of scraping down the side of that bloody cupboard or something. It's a bit of a kerfuffle in there, but anyway, it's all going to be sealed up. I have considered actually once before, and I may still do this, put a little thing in the floor. You got to be careful where you put it, but if it's up in the right spot, you should be right. Put a little thing in the floor to be able to let them come in and out, a bit like a cat flap, like instead of a vertical one, like a horizontal one. And I reckon a little bit of plywood or something to do the trick fine. You know, stop air from coming in and out, but you sort of wonder if the mice wouldn't flame and be coming in and out instead. I was going to put a little hole between one side of the wall and the other. I thought, no, stuff it. I don't really want them getting through into the room where the tools are, because if I want them to stay out of the way or something, I used to have to put it in basically in the bathroom, but then, like, you know, meat and stuff like that, I stick it in the shower base in the bathroom, but then the sods would go and jump up over the top of the blooming chimney and walk in from the other side of the chimney and jump back in. And one time she managed to come in there. I had chops sitting on the shower base. This is when she had the kitten. She climbed in over the top of the chimney, grabbed all the chops, and with the chops in her mouth, still climbed over the top of the chimney again, walked out, dropped them on the front flipping pathway, and then called to the kittens, and the kittens were eating all the damn chops when I come out. And well, my breakfast wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but at least with that room now being, you know, completely sealed off, I've got another spot to keep, you know, her away from, and yeah, I should keep it like that as a result. Anyway, I'll put that first sheet up, and I'm just going to have a tin of beans and probably should have a coffee or something else. And yeah, I don't have that much packet food. I've got a bunch of blooming turnips and a few sweet potatoes and a bit more Chinese cabbage and some eggs, but nothing that's really not going to take me a little while to prepare. I really should just, after this tin of beans, get on and stick the second sheet up, and then I'll have a look and see what we got in regards to filling these little gaps on the end. Alrighty, we could listen to 3 hours of me waffling on, going sheet by sheet, but long story short, that wall's up. And it appears this torch is still a piece of shit. There's a bit of insulation in the top there. I didn't have enough for that. I didn't quite have enough for that. And I'm a bit worried about this torch blinking. I was doing it a lot before. I charged the battery up and just done it again just then, but it's... Yeah, I haven't put the bog on this side. Had a gap here at the top. That wall is leaning to the left 4 inches more than it is at the bottom. This is what happens when everybody sits there. Oh yeah, put the skirting board on there too. This is what happens when everybody sits there telling me that I should do it up to its former glory. Well, it just ain't going to happen. And although the level of the roof is alright, this here wall, yeah, is on about a lean of about 4 inches. I did Put base coat in this one. I've still got to get top coat, and I've done obviously this one. And yeah, all I've got to do is just whack a bit of base coat over those screws there. That's actually one of the edges. See, if I'd done that with a cut edge, I'd be stuffed, but that's the actual edge with paper on it, as you can see, because they print on one of them. So yeah, tomorrow I'll probably get some top coat, and fortunately this torch behaved better than expected when trying to show you that. Tried another time and holy smoke, it was not behaving. But there's more. Get this out of here. I've had a little harvest. As you probably realise, there's shit everywhere. These old things here, you can't see the red one very well. You can see the yellow one. Roses painted in the 1800s, 1896, at the date on the bottom. My father almost threw those out. He went through all his grandparents' stuff, and there was a huge amount of stuff that, you know, got thrown out. And there's a little bit of stuff that had bore, and some got chucked, and then he realised later more had bore, and he chucked basically bloody nearly everything, which is a bit of a shame because a lot of it was family history, and that was some of what I salvaged. That was just going to go straight in the wood heater, and it's painted in 1896, and there's another painting there that was done by a relative that I've also, well, I've actually got two, but that also we're going to end up in the bin. You can barely believe it sometimes. Anyway, that there will be a bag full of, you guessed it, spinach. Yes. All individual leaves I cut off. I'll just sit this down somewhere for a second. Put that back in the fridge. I've actually got some Chinese cabbage that really badly needs to be eaten. That I just couldn't be bothered eating the white stalks because I just don't like the taste of any white stalks. Same with bok choy. I'll cut all the greens off. And here's a couple of yellow ones I just chucked over the fence. And yeah, so many times I get choy some or whatever, cut all the green leaves off, cook all them up, and the stalks sit around for a week or two, and in the end I just fling them out in the paddock, feed them to the sheep. It's very bright today for some reason. I suppose all the cool weather, snow weather has disappeared. These are the ones I trimmed. These are the ones that were hanging right out over the pots, so they've already got a fairly severe prune. Along with some of these up here. You can sort of tell because all the inner leaves have sort of been all crinkly. And the younger ones, the inner leaves ain't crinkled as much. I've got a couple out of this here, but not many. Yeah, it's supposed to encourage growth. I never really knew. I always just see them in the supermarket as a whole plant. That's it. And upon reading, apparently you're supposed to snip the outer leaves off and it helps them go a bit better. There's Siberian kale, whatever you want to call it. That's just, well, nowadays it's just considered standard kale. When I got the seeds years ago, back about 2009, and that's those same seeds, they're considered a bit more of a rarity. Another one there, another one there. I really should go and clip all the grass here. None of this has really got big enough yet to really do any snipping, you know, really harvest anything off. Really speaking though, it does need a bit of a trim. I think the grass is shading the shit out of everything. So it's a bit of an arduous task moving all the stuff around. I gave that side a bit of a trim and it's all just come back up again, but it's a bit of an arduous task having to move frickin' 30 pots just to cut everything and move them all back again. And to be quite honest, I want to get on and do the base coat in there today. And yeah, I probably will have time to snip a bit of the grass here. This in here is pretty good because a lot of it's not covering the plants, and what was I actually snipped off anyway as I was printing. Last evening it was pretty dark when I was out here actually. Anyway, reckon Black Kitty? So strange having these bright warm days. You know, look at the flaming couple of tiny weeny clouds over there. Aside from that, it's completely cloudless. That's not what usually happens in winter. Anyway, I better have some breakfast and get on with all this stuff. Probably going to be living with all this crap in the kitchen for the next couple of days until I sand all this and sort it all out. And got to buy some top coat tomorrow, as I said, and I probably should buy some paint as well, and you know, do the whole shebang, and then be able to move everything back in. With the kitchen's just full of ladders and shit.